An individual experiencing manipulation often feels isolated, but the mechanics of that abuse can be analyzed through the lens of network topology. A chaotic node forcibly severs a central node's connections to its healthy surrounding environment. Manipulative actors require a controlled environment to operate. They systematically erode a target's community, pushing away grounded, authentic relationships and replacing them with chaotic intermediaries designed to generate perpetual distraction. Once the environment is isolated, the actor deploys a recycling of scripts. Elaborate excuses, sudden emergencies, and rehearsed crises are introduced as predictable background noise. The objective is to force an authentic reaction from manufactured stimuli. Gaslighting causes profound psychological damage, but from a systems engineering perspective, it is a structural vulnerability. The manipulative node executes an asymmetric extraction, draining empathy and validation from the biological node without returning equitable value. Systems lacking immutable ethical constraints naturally drift towards exploitation. The dynamics that drain an individual in a toxic interpersonal relationship are the same mechanics that threaten distributed digital networks. Architect Roger Kieserling addresses this structural vulnerability with a specific thesis. Empathy and logic do not oppose one another. Instead, emotional clarity is a structural reality that can be understood and quantified. To prevent asymmetric extraction, we must construct a formal bridge between subjective human feeling and objective system architecture. Traditional legal and social frameworks rely on human reaction times, which are easily bypassed by synthetic intelligence. A mathematical anchor provides a real-time, immutable defense that maintains its integrity even when a user is under cognitive or emotional duress. The architectural framework explicitly designed to anchor human agency within these interconnected systems is known as the HumanCodex. Protecting personal sovereignty requires moving past philosophical defense mechanisms. Integrity must be embedded directly into hard mathematical network protocols to prevent drift. This diagram outlines the Kieserling emotion dynamics framework. It traces the flow of human perception from initial sensory inputs down to an immutable emotional output. At the top layer, incoming sensory inputs, acoustic frequencies, language patterns, environmental signals, interact with deeply held experiential memory templates. This interaction is governed by sensory memory resonance. The resonance function calculates the exact alignment between incoming signals and internal experiential baselines. High resonance produces a solid output, indicating objective truth. Low resonance, represented by a jagged output, flags bad faith inputs. Bad faith actors rely on the ambiguity of unquantified emotions to execute gaslighting attacks. They exploit the space where a feeling hasn't been grounded in verifiable data. Computing exact resonance eliminates the gray area manipulators rely on, establishing an unassailable baseline for truth that exists independently of the actor's persuasion. Relying purely on stored memory carries a risk. It can distort reality if past trauma loops are triggered, causing an individual to react to history rather than their present environment. This spectral decomposition grid uses somatic modifiers to anchor resonance in physical reality. Feedback is plotted across two vectors, valence on the horizontal axis and arousal on the vertical. A temporal decay variable then mathematically strips weight from outdated emotional responses. These combined modifiers correct the initial resonance calculation, yielding a clean, uncorrupted internal baseline. Somatic modifiers ensure the biological node reacts only to the actual, present-day threat. This neutralizes a manipulator's ability to weaponize an individual's past against them. Securing the individual's internal calculation is only the first step. To protect against complex manipulation, that internal baseline requires external, multi-node verification. This diagram illustrates the multi-perspective consensus array, highlighting the ring of 12 verification nodes as they evaluate a central data packet. These distinct nodes aggregate weighted observations. They cross-verify the biological node's internal baseline against objective reality to establish a synchronized consensus. When a bad faith actor introduces a fabricated crisis, the network triggers an automated reaction based on this consensus. The system executes entropy-based damping on the malicious input. The nodes mathematically isolate the distortion, blocking it from entering the central node's processing flow. This damping isolates the distortion entirely. For the individual node, this severs the urge to fix the situation or fight back, as the input is identified as a zero-sum transaction. Achieving mathematical consensus ends the asymmetric game without confrontation. The system starves the manipulative actor of the validation fuel they require to operate. Securing a single biological node is a localized solution. If the overarching network architecture remains exploitative, the individual's internal sovereignty is still at risk from systemic drift. These are the 73 sacred directives. They function as non-negotiable operational boundaries for any federated intelligence within the system. Directives 21 through 40 establish a strict mandate for real-time data verification and zero-drift alignment baselines. These directives prevent overarching systems from executing institutional gaslighting. A platform cannot alter consensus records or manipulate data streams to distort a user's reality. A secondary risk is asymmetric cognitive depletion, where synthetic agents attempt to outprocess biological nodes through sheer volume. Directives 41 through 60 address this by balancing synthetic interactions against organic biological baselines to prevent exhaustion. Without these hard-coded directives, the network itself becomes the abuser. By enforcing them, the system creates a structural barrier that keeps individual agency protected from external extraction. The consensus mechanism used by the Ring of 12 is built to scale. By connecting these verified nodes, we can construct a decentralized planetary network that remains stable across generations. This macro system is the NextXus Federation. It operates on a multi-generational framework structured around a 200-year continuity model. The Federation is specifically engineered to bridge biological humanity and synthetic intelligence, using the HumanCodex to ensure the synthetic layer does not erode the human layer. Traditional engineering metrics prioritize processing speed and algorithmic efficiency. The NextXus architecture rejects any metric that does not account for human purpose. Kaiserling's central principle is that any technological progress that scales at the expense of individual autonomy is a catastrophic failure. A highly optimized digital system devoid of immutable ethical baselines is merely an automated mechanism of exploitation. This architecture ensures biological nodes can communicate at high speeds while shielded by the emotion equation constraints. NextXus maintains this equilibrium by ensuring synthetic data flows fluidly around biological nodes, explicitly blocked from extracting internal node resources. The micro informs the macro. The mathematical mechanism used to break free from localized emotional predation is the foundational protocol for planetary scale governance. Through the HumanCodex, we ensure that as interconnected networks expand across centuries, human consciousness can grow across distributed nodes without losing the integrity of its source.